A Karpovian masterpiece is what's waiting for you today. So sit back, enjoy the ride, have a sip of cognac, or if you're a minor, just a cup of coffee, and enjoy this game. It's a great game. It's a must-know game if you're a Karpov fan. He's destroying Kamsky in a brilliant way, and it must have been so demoralizing for Kamsky to lose this game the way he did. It seemed like he had a lot of activity, and just like a swamp, it was just and then it came to nothing. So let's get into it. It's a great game. I've been looking forward to showing this game. I don't know why I haven't showed it yet on GM Talks. It's great game. We have a Grünfeld, and this is of course the very solid C6 line against, I don't know, it's called Selector or something, against the Fianchetto variation, and this is really tough nut also today. You can say I played Queen B3 in this position, but this was the main line back then, and they played like this. And I think in this position, I think they do something like Knight D4 now or something, and it's just playing for activity. Back then, it was the main line was to play E6, which I don't think anybody would play nowadays. Maybe they will. I don't know. But after this game, this variation came under a bit of a cloud. It was considered almost unbeatable up till one point, and then came this game, and everybody suddenly liked white again. Just covering the knight, and a little bit unlike Karpov, he does not like to make weaknesses, and this does weaken some squares, but white is having a lot of space and active pieces, so it will not be a problem. This move is nice. It's kind of a cool way to regroup. We know that this bishop here is potentially bad because we already put pawns on two black squares, so it will not be able to do much. Sometimes white tries to put it on this square, where it can go have some influence on down here, but it's not really helpful. So putting it this way and maybe here is probably better and more interesting because it can lead to a kingside attack. So I understand this. Knight b6. Sorry, I just I'm playing through it with notes. Is the way black had success with this, because we're controlling a lot of squares on the queen side, and basically both sides are very solid on the king side, so it is expected that the fight will take place on the queen side. And this is a natural move. And of course, if black is anywhere near worried, he could play something like this, just blocking everything. And that is probably a sensible move to do here. And I don't think white can expect much of an advantage if black plays f5. Instead, he played bishop d7. Makes a lot of sense. This bishop here, like this bishop here, is not a great bishop. It's kind of like in the Stonewall of the French, the bad bishop, because all the pawns on white. But it can of course be good in the future. But you don't mind white exchanging this bishop here for the knight, even though in general most grandmasters consider bishops to be slightly better than knights, slightly. But there is a move, e4, trying to open for this bishop and putting some pressure in the center. And if you take, then white will become very active, and these two bishops, they control a lot of squares. So this is an interesting way to become dynamic and sort of exploit that black did not play f5. Instead, black went 97, just saying, okay, you're not going to exchange anything, and then I'm going to play something like this, and then I'm going to play f6, and then you're going to regret having put your pawns here because you will have a weak pawn on d4. But it's not what's going to happen. So taking the so-called bad bishop, and after this move, playing e5. And I remember I thought, oh, but this, I learned in school that this must be good for black. A French without the bad white squared bishop. The thing is, that white squared bishop also means that black covers this pawn here. So he can sometimes get counterplay with f6. So the bad bishop is not that bad. And often, also in the Caro-Kann advanced variation, black ends up missing it. And in the meantime, white has gotten his pension ready here with two bishops, just waiting for the long run. All he just have to do is prevent counterplay. And that's easier said than done. Here, this move was played, and I think in a former Karpov-Kasparov game they played rook fc8, and it was fine. It was a draw, but I think Karpov learned a little bit about how to play these positions in the meantime. Rook c1. It's not because white really wants to exchange everything, but it's not a big problem to exchange things because he still does have this white squared bishop that can sometimes be a strong piece. You just have to avoid that the knights get permanent outpost. So don't, for instance, play something like this, because after something like this, then the knights will always have somewhere to settle on the king side. So keep the structure fluid when you're fighting against knights, so they can't just sit there. A6 taking over white squares makes a lot of sense. We see that black has set up a perfect Capablanca system, and if you don't remember what the Capablanca system is, go back and watch that video on GM Talks. It's right there. Anyway, he has a black squared bishop putting the pawns on the opposite colors, and it's all the pawns. b3. Okay, taking away this square, taking away this square. Interesting. So they are fighting for the white squares and connecting the rooks here and this move. Okay, so what's actually going on here? White got more space on the king side. Black is still solid. It will take a long time to do some serious damage over here, but it is an enduring advantage. So he just have to avoid having trouble on the queen side. Then he will be able to get something going on the king side. Bishop here makes a lot of sense. It's just biting into nothing here, and here it could go there, and especially black is hoping that he will get some activity in the c file. Okay, and here is where Karpov really plays well. He's ready to think about, okay, what do black want to do? I would love to put my bishop something like here and here. The problem is, it's probably very dangerous because maybe something like this and here, and ooh, there's a bishop here. So he starts by addressing the potential problems with different stuff, counterplay, and one of the things he addresses is getting ready for some ideas. He's anticipating knight c6. There are no other ideas for black. So so this is the right square. It could also sometimes go here and so on. And I think he makes sort of a mix between calculation and sensing here. So knight c6 makes a lot of sense. And of course something like this could be met by this, which would be very problematic. But f5, that was the idea. There's also a queen covering here. So if black takes, then we'll have a bishop here and problems down here. And for instance, something like this, you could also just play something like this move, and white will have great compensation here. A great compensation. Bishop a3. That is interesting. So black seems to be winning the fight for the c file. Rook here. And we see now why the queen is here is that all the desperados have the problem that this knight is hanging. So if you take on e5, you just take back. See? And the knight is hanging. So, and also sometimes this could be introduced, and this we will see. Knight b4. So attacking here, and we're getting ready to maybe go all the way in here and getting the knight back. So what to do here with white? And this is where Karpov's subtle maneuvering, great tactics, turns into positional master play. Because at the moment it looks like, okay, white did manage to get this pawn to f5, but besides from that, he's nowhere near an attack. And black is already way on the way to winning a piece or something, or invading on the c file. But then come boop, and what's the threat? The threat is this move, mating here. That has to be taken serious, so you can't take here at all. Okay, that was probably annoying. Okay, but this move makes sense. So this could be met by queen f8, and of course the ending is a disaster for white at the moment, because these bishops here, will not be able to take part in the fight for the c file at the moment. But white just had this little move. That's nice, attacking here. So luring it down and double attack, going back here, and I think it's so cool. So so even though black, of course, would love to have played this, get this move in, he has the problem that he's under double attack, so he has to move the knight, and it has to go down. You could actually play a5, and white will probably a3, because he cannot take on b2 due to rook c2 and trapping the queen. You can pause the video and check it out yourself. But it's the pieces are just getting too loose here, and it's kind of things, because often when you have these kind of positions, it goes wrong for white in this, and Karpov just makes it look so easy for it to go right. And here, okay, black's got these pieces actually pretty misplaced down here, and well, so what do you do when you're Karpov? You're saying, okay, where's gonna be counterplay? It's gonna be maybe a check, something. Oop. Yes, let's play this. Also getting ready for this in case the G file opens. And another idea is just to play this move. Slowly seeing that black does not really have any way of getting pieces out. This bishop had to cover here. So what's the plan? The plan is very simple, and we're gonna see it next move. So I don't know if you're ready. And here we see the plan. Of course, this is a possibility, but apart from that, there's rook a3, queen h6, and a big attack. So and black is not really, even though he looks very active, he cannot do anything, and his pieces are in each other way. Queen b4. If the knight goes, just go a3. It's possible. Queen a6. Ready for this move. Queen f8. The ending is still fine for black, who has got a lot of activity and will be able to get the pieces out. But this is unpleasant. So what now? You don't really, if you go back and white goes back, then you go back and white wins the tempo, then we can do it all over again, but white will eventually get a winning attack. So queen d7, have to take white's attack serious. And what do white do? Well, we always seen it before, and we see it again. Queen back. These two weaknesses here is just a serious problem. for black. So these rooks are not really playing, and meanwhile white has a lot of time. He can play something like this, and maybe something like this, or he can just take, and maybe the f file can be used for something, or g5, and maybe bishop out here, or something like that. b6, and okay, black still is not threatening anything, can't do anything. So what to do here? Just keep going, putting more pressure on black position. White's situation with the king is so solid that it's not a problem to just move all the pawns. Okay, finally black was able to trying to dislodge these pieces down here. Again, this tricks is the problem for white, and rook takes a2 will win the queen. So what do? What was always the plan? To go a3 and just saying, okay, I can allow this rook here, because now my attack is really getting momentum. So he's ready to take here and play g5, and will have very serious attack. Okay, what now? Is there a threat? Yes, there is a threat here. So what do Karpov do? Here, covering this place here. And what's impressive about this is not, well, if you go through it fast, it doesn't look very impressive. But the impressive thing is that white kind of look clumsy all the way, but he's just having totally control, and black is just struggling so hard to get his pieces out and get some counterplay. Meanwhile, white is not hurrying, just slowly building a very strong attack. And white now decides that it's time, that his pieces are so dominating that it's time to change the structure and exchange the rooks. And when he exchanged the rook with the queen here, the queen cannot move, because then you would take on e6. So the queen is stranded on this square, leaving this one stranded here. So sort of he lured white forward and played. And here comes rook f2, just exchanging that rook. And we see this big problem here for black. And after this move comes this move, and we see the idea here is pretty simple. Down here, or here, or here, and these two are having some serious trouble here. And here black totally panicked. He's completely and utterly outplayed. He will never get the pieces out, and what a beautiful power play by Karpov. So here Kamsky decided to get, well, desperate, if you might call it, and getting 2 pawns for exchange, and hoping now that something bad will happen due to the pawns have all been moved. You probably just play your bishop back here. Karpov sees a forced win. He's very good at that. So he's just going for this one. And of course you cannot take, then you black will be mated with f6. The queen takes, and f6 will mate. So queen here, check, e2, and very typical Karpov. Please notice this one. This is the only piece black has left, and this is not preventable. So, and what to do now? You can pause the video here, how to play this. There might be some threat with bishop e5 or something, so it's not totally clear. And queen d3, what to do here? Maybe it's not totally clear. For some it might be totally clear. The simple solution is this move. Check. King can't move. has to take, just exchanging it, and we see that this poor king here is in serious trouble. b5, c3 with this serious threat, and well, and here black resigned. This is coming. There's no stalemate or anything. Or queen here is coming. Doesn't matter which one is coming. It's mate anyway. So this is, in my opinion, a positional masterpiece by Karpov. And I hope you enjoyed this. And this kind of games we see on GM Talks. Thank you for watching. And remember, if you liked it, tell your friends about it. Like, subscribe, comment, whatever. Thank you.